Here we go, folks. Here we go. Team No Sleep. Um, February, is it left? No, leap year. So, not the last day of February, February 28th. What is good? I'm James Six. That dude over there, it's Montel Allen. Tell the people how you doing, sir.
Oh man, blessed as usual, always. Cannot complain. Got a that mental state of mind right now, and just happy to be alive, man. Happy to have
Okay.
10 toes down.
10 toes down. Happy to be alive. Positive mental state. I think that's, if y'all can't read between the lines, that's the precursor to some of the conversations that we gonna have tonight. Let me say what's going on. We see some folks checking in the comments. Mr. Stark, good to see you, sir. Glad you was on last night as well. 2 for 2. I love it. 2 for 2. Listen, all right, let's go and get focused, man. Let's get into some of these things that's going on. David Hunt is in the building too. Listen, that man right there, he's got the wrench. So I think he got the wrench. Yeah. David Hunt made sure that the riffraff stays out. So we got to acknowledge him for
Yeah.
sure. Lot of altercations happening in the world of sport. And altercations is a kind, nice way to say it. We got players fighting. We got fans fighting. We got fans coming on the field and on the court when players are fighting. We got kids fighting elders. I mean, let me start with that. Kids fighting elders who are trying to do something good within the community. Let's go ahead and start with it, man. Let's go ahead and start with it. Cam
Yeah.
Newton. Listen, Cam Newton, for one thing, doesn't have to do anything. He doesn't have to give back, reach back, and provide these camps and these clubs and these opportunities, but he still does, and he continues. As I was doing research on this, man, I actually feel I feel sorry for Cam, and the reason I feel sorry for him because he keeps getting hit. He keeps getting literally and figuratively hit, knocked down, looked at, trash talked. Yeah, he talked trash too. Listen, Cam is Cam, and he gets all of this negativity around him when he's at the end of the day trying to do good. This last situation that happened out at the 7-on-7 football event past weekend, some guys from the other coordinators for the event, Cam Newton and them were talking back and forth the day before, talking trash. That's just what athletes do, in my opinion. But for them to jump the man at the event and start a ruckus, start a fight amongst children, amongst families, around a sporting event when that has nothing, that shouldn't be in no place. That I don't understand that. And Montel, I know you hot over there, but I wanted to set some context for folks who may haven't seen it yet, and I'll scroll through the story so people can see it. But tell me your thought about this whole what should Cam keep doing what he's doing, and your whole thoughts about the whole melee that went down.
Yeah. First is just disappointing, right? It's disappointing. I mean, for someone like him of his stature, NFL MVP, that's been given back to the community. I think 15 years plus. He's been doing this tournaments throughout the southern region. From Atlanta to the Carolinas and all that stuff. And I've seen a clip of the day where these events cost an estimate of 25,000, and he does at least I believe 9 a year. So he spends about $225,000 a year, almost $250,000 a year every year, putting on these camps for the last 15 plus years.
Yeah.
And the fact that they have this type of event, it was at Martin Luther King's wife's park, the park that's in honor of her name, Coretta Scott King's Park. He had this event in the middle of Atlanta, and the fact that these coaches and players had an audacity, wanted to swing on him, right, because of a disagreement, or just because of an argument, or just because of the spirit of competition, whatever it may be, to have the nerve to want to swing on him at his event that he's putting on for you. It's just a lack of respect, man. A lack of respect, a lack of I don't know, man. We're just at a different situation where
Yeah.
these kids feel it's okay to be disrespectful to people that are trying to give them knowledge and trying to give them game and putting on events to make sure they're busy and they have opportunity to do other things besides out being out in the streets. And your payment back is to fight. I've met I think Cam I met him once.
Okay.
It's a good time. I mean, when I met him, very nice guy, very respectful, shook everybody's hands that was in the building, did everything. But me, man, I've seen other quarterbacks do events, and there's never been an incident. I've seen Drew Brees throw events in San Diego all the time. I've seen other quarterbacks throw events all the time. Kurt Warner throws an event with youth all the time, young men in high school all the time, and these situations never happen. Why is this happening in Cam's situation, and why is it happening in our community over and over again?
That's kind of the conversation that I want to get into, and we see y'all folks chiming in. Appreciate you for jumping in. Eric, I'm gonna put your comment up in a second because that's actually a very interesting part about this whole thing. And again, why again? I understand the Good Samaritan. I understand also. I understand that Cam has had other issues in his past, but nothing significant, right? So I mean, there's no reason for this man to be getting this. I was trying to think about all the times that something happened to him in Carolina while he was QB1. And there was that one traffic incident that happened. But again, he, I guess, there was something happened, but he stayed there with the authorities and it didn't turn into an ugly melee. It was just a kind of interesting eye twist for folks to say, oh, damn, Cam Newton's actually not a bad dude. And, you know, you don't hear any scandals. You don't hear he owes anybody money. He's got his podcast that's just as successful as Club Shay Shay and as Pivot and all that. He's doing his thing. Then he goes out there again and he puts on these tournaments and he puts on these competitions amongst young up-and-comers, young wannabes, young folks that want to get a chance to play in the Super Bowl or play at Auburn or get that trophy. And he's giving them the game mentally, physically, and in every aspect. And they end up jumping the dude. Now, what's funny and what karma does, like Eric said, look, Cam's 6'5". Cam liked to fight. Right? We've seen Cam put them hands on his teammates in the spirit of competition out there on the field and be able to handle himself with a gang of folks. This right here is karma right there when 5 or 6 other of those little TSPD dudes, top shelf performance, the representatives from that organization came and jumped on him, and Cam, he kept his hat on, stood his ground, and I would like to see some comments here about if you guys have any understanding of what's going on with this as well.
It's a bigger picture than that because we got 6 or 7 individuals just about to ruin it for everybody. You know, Cam has been as impactful on youth progression to the next level and to the pros just as much as Snoop has with his youth league and so on. Shroud came through Cam 707. Justin Fields just came through a 707 and so on and so on. That he's giving game and he's talking to him and he's telling them how, you know, to conduct themselves in a way to be and go on and on. So now we have this 707 organization that might ruin it for everybody else that's trying to get in there and get that break. If he's saving 2 or 3 lives out of his 707 tournament every year, that's 2 or 3 more African Americans or people in those communities going to be millionaires and be able to give back and do different things in their community.
Yes, sir.
And these guys just possibly ruined it. You know, from what I understand, he didn't say he was going to stop doing it. But the fact of the matter, at some point, he's got to take safety in concern, right? He has to,
especially for him,
take his safety into concern.
Yeah. So I mean, I heard someone saying as well. Hindsight being 2020 here. Cam's security need to be a little bit more tighter too. Right. He
but
can't.
Why, but again.
But again.
Why? Yeah, I know what you're saying, but
I'm gonna let you go ahead. But I just want to say again, hindsight being 2020, someone like a Cam Newton can't just be walked around without some cats that are actively looking at him. We were at the Super Bowl. We saw T.O. We saw a couple of cats that again they weren't making moves without somebody actively making sure that they didn't get caught up into anything. I think Cam fits into that camp as well. Okay, go ahead.
Well, to Cam's defense, though, something he's done for the past 14, 15 years without an incident ever, without having to have security ever. I'm comfortable in doing my own events and doing these things while all of a sudden now I have to have security, right? And I get what you're saying. I understand. At some point, you kind of got to figure it out and make sure you're always protected. But in his defense, I'm like, hey, I've been doing this for the longest. I've never had any incident, maybe a few jaw jacking back and forth, but that's been about it, and I'm okay with that. So the fact of the matter that they try to jump him and fight him. Not just the incident is the bad part, the part that you just took away the opportunity for the next camp. And now, even if he does have security, those kids can't touch Cam like they would be able to before.
Right.
There's
They
no,
they don't
there's
have
no,
the access,
there's,
right? He's opening
yeah,
up
there's a
all the
wall now.
access to him. Yeah.
Yeah, there's going to be a wall now. He's not going to be so open to share that information or be able to do the things he's been doing with these other guys for the past 14, 15 years that he can do now going forth, because now I gotta put that wall for my fear or for an incident or something might happen to me. I think it's sad, man. I think it's so sad that the term that we can't have nothing nice
Mm.
is now falling into this presence. We
Come
can't
on.
have nothing nice without tearing it up. We can't do nothing without somebody reacting like this. Those coaches, those kids, their parents, all are fault. All are at fault. And the kids, I'll pull a little bit later back. I think they probably was in the fight. I think they were fighting, but they were kind of defending their coach, right? Because the coach is the one who threw the first punch.
Truth. Yeah.
They can't. So they jumping in. They're like, that's my coach. That's the guy I've been with all these weeks. I don't care who it is I'm fighting. So I can kind of give them a little bit of leeway and a little bit of pass. But those coaches, man, that embellish this kind of attitude and do those types of things, those are the people that don't need to be involved in these kind of sports, especially not involved in these events, because, like I said, it's not that event that's the problem. It's future events now that are going to be affected. That he might cut that off, man, and it's such a big impact.
And he'd be justified in doing
it. Yeah, he's justified in doing it. Absolutely,
yeah.
Justified in doing it.
The challenge about this, and we touched on this before, but we got some comments in here from Tallboy. Appreciate you too, man. Again, this isn't happening at Peyton's. This isn't happening at Eli's or Drew's,
no,
or anyone else's. This is that negative cloud now in it downtown Atlanta, wherever Atlanta. Hey, Tallboy, don't look at me bad because I'm getting my counties mixed up. Okay. But in Atlanta, predominantly black, we got Cam Newton coming in, right? Big dude, 6'5", Auburn, Carolina, a lot of swagger, coming in with the big hats, right? A lot of folks are looking at him. And then, oh, Lord, here we are now. We fighting.
Yeah. Well,
that's just negative PR or negative.
I think you're looking at it from a micro. You're looking from a micro vision. I think you got to look at it from macro vision. I think it's a big effect on 707. Which has been a huge influx in football. It's a big effect on 707 because if anybody's ever been to a 707 tournament and see these kids' behavior has gotten more and more outrageous, more and more belligerent, more and more disrespectful. It's been growing and growing and growing, and we kind of let it pass because it's the same way in basketball too. It's been growing and growing and growing. These kids have this entitled swagger. They can talk trash on anybody, and it's been very disrespectful. But now, I think at this point, this just shows where it's just crossed the line. So now I think you'll have a whole effect over the whole 707 umbrella right now. Because one, guys that sponsor teams, that pay for teams, and a lot of them are NFL guys, a lot of them have money, a lot of guys are willing to give because they got cousins and nephews and brothers that playing these things. I think you'll see a little bit of drawback. Because no one can absorb this negative press. No one. Not in today's social media, you can't absorb it. Right? If you're an up and coming player and you got a little bit of money, you throw something, your team is out there fighting somebody.
Yeah,
you can't. You do not want to be associated with it, or associated or a part of that. Unfortunately, so I think we got. And we start
talking about. As you were saying that just now, I was thinking about and sponsorships as well, right? So we talking about money coming in. We talking about Nike and Reebok and whomever. Yeah. They now want to be involved in stuff like that.
Yeah, but I think we got a bigger problem than anything is these kids' attitudes and the way they act.
Yeah,
like. Where is it? Is it at the parents? Is it at the coaching? Is it the combination of both? Where is this at? Because it's gonna have to stop at some point. You got to think that same attitude carries over in high school. So they're disrespectful and belligerent to their coaches and their teachers, and we tolerate it as a society because they're good at football. Let's call it what it is, man. Because you're good at a sport, they tolerate it. They tolerate your attitude. They overlook it. I think now this has just brought some shine to it that we can't start overlooking it because. They are at a point where they don't care about a person. They don't care about the sponsor of the event, nor somebody that's got accolades, trying to show them, how to behave and be that next person. Like, if anybody knows the names of those guys on that 7-on team, they already got a black ball asterisk by their name about recruiting.
That's true. Right.
To be honest with you,
they just spoiled the game in the bag for them and everyone else down the road.
Yeah, it's not an end all be all. I think people, they'll still get recruited. But I'm saying there's going to be a star by your name. It is what
Yeah.
it is. You're going to be like,
Yeah.
oh, man, you're involved in that incident with Cam Newton. Now you got to explain yourself as a young man, what happened, and tell your story. It's just one more hurdle, man, we got to get over, man, just because of a coach. I don't know if he was jealous or what, but whatever Cam said to him or whatever the disagreement was, the best thing, you just could have just walked away. It ain't even that serious. It's a 7-on-7. Man, it's a free 7-on-7. Basically, it's an overzealous flag football game.
That's what
all
it
it
was.
is.
That's all it is. That's all it is.
And we gonna sit here, and now you're in the national spotlight fighting the man. And I don't care, in no situation you was gonna be held accountable wrong no matter what.
Yeah.
You're gonna be held around. But I mean, like I said, I think on the macro level, man, it's bigger than just that event. I think now it's gonna have to take a look back at these kids' attitudes and the way they act during these games, and the way they're presenting themselves, and the way the coaches are allowing them to present themselves. And I think hopefully there's gonna be some enforcement on it. And if not, I think we're going to continue to see this kind of behavior. But with that behavior, you're going to start to see events kind of just go away. That I don't think no one wants to tolerate that. No one wants to be getting in a fight. No one wants to be doing all that stuff, because we know what those lead to, right? That leads to even greater action. If it's going to be fist to fight, this time it's going to be a knife or a bottle. Then after that, it's going to lead to a gun. So it is what it is.
With that, I mean, kind of like what Tallboy was saying as well. I think Cam's going to bring back more security, so they either go away or they start charging for them, and they raise the prices to where, I mean, regular folks can't afford it, right? Because again, I need to pay for the security. I need to pay for whatever. We're only going to do this broad daylight. We're not going to mess around. Whatever the case may be, we're going to start busing folks to other locations just to be out of areas where there could be some things jumping off. All of these intricacies, right? That again, these young cats that try to jump 6'5", Cam Newton, who again know how to put them hands on folks, and Cam stood strong and did like you say, he stood on business. But again, it's just an ugly conversation to have. I know he's going on some other shows in a couple of days to talk about it some more in detail, but he's been pretty quiet about it. But we will see from his side.
I like kind of where we're going, but race is a factor. I hate to say, and I hate to.
Well, we dabbled in it. So I mean, again, we dabbled in it. The Peyton thing, the Drew Brees, those types of quarterbacks, they don't have these issues.
Yeah, but it's just a factor in the sense that we got to take a look at ourselves and why are we the ones doing it?
Mm-hmm.
Like, we're self-imploding ourselves on opportunities.
Yeah. Especially
when you, as a coach who's supposed to be a grown man, your life has been lived and you're doing this as a volunteer, or maybe you're getting paid for it, but it's not, it's something that's impactful for young. And now, not only did you self-sabotage yourself, you just self-sabotage your team. You self-sabotage the event, and you might have self-sabotaged the whole thing going forth from there. Just because you had a disagreement, or even if, let's just say you don't even like Cam, so what? Just because you had a disagreement, you didn't want to. I think this brings a bigger light to that, because this ain't the only event that these fights and stuff happen. True. I've been to 7-on-7 tournaments where there's fights there. It just hasn't been on a superstar like Cam Newton, where the camera was on. It's on somewhere where it's smaller. I think we really got to figure out a way to curb the behavior, and figure out what's going on. And I'm reading the comment right now by Marvin, and I appreciate your comment, Starks, Mr. Starks. The role model should be the parent, right? I mean, and we can watch what we want on TV. I mean, we grew up watching Arnold Schwarzenegger and Rocky and all the Scarface. I'm a product of Scarface, all that. But my number one role model was my mother. That's period. She's the one, this is how you're going to behave. This is how you're going to act, whatever. So before we start blaming it on stars and superstars, let's peel back that onion and start looking at parents.
Start at home.
Start at home. Like you always say, that home cooking. I think you need to start at home.
Right. Somebody picked up on it. That's exactly it.
And start looking at what they're using, what they're looking at entertainment, and understand they need to understand the difference between entertainment and edutainment, right? That's entertainment. Somebody walking around with a gun and shooting 50 people, that's not real. You know what I mean? Because there's consequences to that. So you need to educate your kids on what entertainment is, so they can decipher between the both of them. And sports is nothing more than entertainment. It's entertainment with competition involved. They need to be able to explain that to their child. So I'm never going to blame it on the star, why my kid is acting like that because it's a rapper, because a rapper saying something. No, it's me. I have to show what it is to be like a responsible adult. I need to be able to articulate that. Or if it ain't me, it needs to be another role model in their life or close. So when those kids, if they don't have a father, should have been their coach. But obviously he didn't have no home training either. So he acting a fool trying to fight as well. So someone needed to teach him.
Yeah.
Somebody along the line is going to have to start teaching our young people how to act this way.
There's going to have to be some responsibility for this. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. And we got to start looking more at our young men. I mean, young women, I don't give them a pass, but I mean, young women have a little bit of different road to follow, path of adulthood and responsibility than young men do. Our young black men, we're not the most favorable in these situations because, you know, we're in bad situations, right? Especially when it comes into urban neighborhoods. You know, a lot of grow up in single households. You know, you're 16, you're trying to become an adult. You're in the crime little things, then influences around you that are positive or negative, mostly negative. So it's a little bit different track, and just to have another stain when this is supposed to be your outlet to get out, it screws you, right? Now they cut these outlets for you to get out. Now what you gonna do? You know? So it's a big microcosm of a lot of things that's going on, and I applaud Cam for defending himself and getting out of it, and he's really been close, tight-lipped about it.
He's been pretty close about it, not saying a whole lot, not saying much at all. But
yeah. So I don't know him, but I mean, I hope he continues to have the event. And I hope he can figure out a way to continue to do it the way he's been doing it because it's been so successful. But I don't think he's going to be able to. I think it's going to have to be some type of change going on.
Yeah, either changing the environment, like I say, changing the environment, changing the locality, changing the price, changing some requirements around access to him. And again, that's not a win-win for anyone. That's a negative thing. This will be one of those stories we continue to follow. Appreciate everyone for jumping in. I'm gonna put this last one up here. Shirley, he says, sports needs more psychological support to help guide the kids because they ain't getting it at home. My goodness, we could just stop right there. That could go in a whole bunch of different directions, Shirley.
I go in a whole bunch of different directions. That's a deep one right there.
I like to go down the rabbit hole, but we'll keep watching this one. But okay, so I was talking about a lot of issues happening around sports, around the field, around the court, around the pitch, whatever you want to call it, what type of ball or puck you do. Let's start with basketball. Let's just start with any sport right now. Unfortunately, ladies, basketball, Southern Miss, Arkansas, y'all saw it. If you didn't see it, I'm not going to show it. Let's just put it this way. Melee happened on the field, hard foul. They get to pushing and shoving. That's common. We see that, again, very competitive in the sports environment. Then you start knocking over players. You start knocking over coaches. You start, again, throwing hands, slapping, punching, pushing, all that stuff. And then, you know what, maybe I will show this one because in this particular situation, one of the players got knocked down for Southern Miss, and then family members came out of the stands and started engaging right there on the field, on the court. Mm-hmm. So now we got civilians, we got players, we got coaches, we got the ref, we got all this going on over a hard foul within a game. Complete mayhem. And it's becoming the norm. Can't say it's just men's because it's the women's on this particular story. Help me out. Help us out. Let's talk about it.
This one is different, right? This one's you're in a competitive game, close game going. You know, the person gets fouled hard, and then now the melee kind of starts as far as the discussion and the bantering back and forth. Me personally, this is where you say, where's the security? Where's the coaches at to kind of calm things down and rectify the situation? You know, especially when it comes to the people from outside the family coming down to defend their cousin or sister or whatnot in this fight. I'm gonna tell you my perspective personally. If you're fighting during the game, I don't mind it as much because that's in the spirit of winning. Right, the game part, the inside the game when the game's going on and there's something going on. If you happen to get into an altercation or push or something like that, that I see that as a part of competitive, and something kind of went wrong and you're defending yourself and but it's still in that combative competitive nature to win the game.
Yeah.
So that part, it has to. This right here, when it all happened and they started trying to go in there has to be coaches and all those intervening, and it has to be something like the NBA does, in my opinion. NBA, you leave the bench, you get suspended for so many games,
Yes.
right? Or you don't get paid or whatever, you get fined. I think college needs to implement something like that on the men's and women's side. The surprising thing is this has become more prevalent in women's basketball, more so than men all of a sudden. You know, there's a lot more pushing and scrumming. What happened to Caitlin in Iowa? The girl,
Right.
you know, she got hit real hard. They don't really hit. I haven't seen nothing hard in LSU, but I mean, they tried to foul someone. The South Carolina girls real hard in one of their games. So it's starting to really become that. But also, is that a demon because it's becoming very, very more competitive? Like, right, the bag to win and what comes with the winning status is crazy, right? It's crazy now because we saw what LSU did and what Caitlin's getting now for winning. Oh, Juju got fouled real hard too over at USC.
Yes.
Juju,
Yeah.
the young phenomenal Juju.
Yeah.
So she got fouled. So I'm saying, I think before, when there wasn't an emphasis on women's sport or women's basketball, you know, where it was like, okay, cool, this would be nothing. It would be an overlook. People would oversee it. Now that the competitive natures came into it big time, and now that the money has came into women's basketball and what's on point, it's getting more and more competitive. And you got to remember, men been doing this for years, right? It's been a men's skirmish in basketball season all the time. But we've always known the stakes is very, very high. So you know that competition, especially when it comes to tournament time coming up, everybody amps it up a little bit more and it goes that way. Well, now we're seeing that in women's sports, in women's basketball. And it might have always been there. Maybe I've never seen it
because we never paid attention until a couple of years ago, right?
Yeah. But now we're paying attention, and now these things are starting to happen. Like, oh, smack. They're really starting to really get after it and go because they know what's at the end of the bag for that tournament. I think coaches are coaching harder. Players are playing harder. They're getting better and more superior athletes just playing in the game all of a sudden now. Everybody's in shape. The basketball IQ is much higher because they're starting to play when they're young all the way to that. Man, the game it's funny to see that game has changed and now that competitive spirit is going there. I don't condone the fighting, obviously. I don't condone somebody coming from the stands. But I think you got to think where you're at Arkansas Southern Miss, there probably wasn't a lot of people there that expect anything to happen. So I think security was light. I think that'll be prevented from now on. But I think now we have to start taking a look in the eye and I'm like, hold on, we might have to start having security at these groups games too because stuff can jump off due to the competitive nature.
You almost sound like an answer that I would give. You know, riding that PC line right there. Because here's where I'm going, and this is why I say that. I say that in all due respect, though, brother. The fight is the fight. The fight is the fight. Right? Again, or the skirmish is what it is. My problem is with this clip is them family members coming down out there on the field, and then the one brother, the uncle, the dad, whomever, waving other folks to come down, and y'all saw it. Look, and we already demonetized because I already showed this video the whole time, so I'm gonna show it again here. Here we go. Brother coming up there in the yellow, right? Waving folks to come down, and the fact that nobody came to intervene with these external folks.
That's what I'm saying. Security, right?
Nobody came down to help that out and to stop them from coming down. And now they fight. And now the family members fighting the coach or one of the players.
Yep.
Come on.
I agree.
Come on.
But I think that's security needs to be there to offhand that. I really think that should be a security issue. I'm gonna tell you right now how I would combat it. I think they were playing at Southern Miss. Since Southern Miss didn't have the accurate security, I think they should be fine. As a school, you should be fine for that incident to happen.
Yeah.
But you should have been better prepared for that.
Yeah.
So as a school, you're going to be fine. You're part of NCAA. You making money. You're on TV. So you got a little bit of cheddar on there. You should be fine for not having security to make sure you're sure. And that's your first infraction. Your second infraction is you're going to be really heavily fined. Your third infraction, you're going to forfeit the game off the rip. So I think if you put things in play to do that, you'll curb that and you'll have the right proper security or authorities that are around, so that won't happen again. I agree with you. The family should have never came down or shouldn't have got in it. But also, being as a family member, how people want to defend their daughter and all that stuff. So I kind of get the psyche of both. Whether I agree, whether you agree.
There's a weird paradox, right? Because it's kind of what would you do if you. I've always thought about this with my kids when they were playing sports. And I'm like, if they got hurt and they got into an altercation, would I run out there on the field or something and try to do the daddy moment and all
Well,
that?
if they're losing the altercation, you really like what the fuck?
Right? Yeah. See, again, so it's like the old Eddie Murphy joke. I understand. I understand.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But come on, at this juncture, there's got to be some restraint, and you got to let.
I, so
And
you
I
can
don't
tell me.
know.
So
It
you
don't
gonna
even
tell
sound
me?
right coming out my mouth.
Wait.
I'm just gonna stop.
So you gonna tell me you gonna be restrained if you see a 6'4" girl that's having
Yeah,
your girl beating your daughter down? She's on top
yeah,
of your daughter, beating your daughter down, and you right there. You're in
yeah,
a situation you could possibly help her, but she's already on the ground. She's fighting. What are you gonna do? I can
yeah.
see it from a parent standpoint why I wanted to go defend. I do. I completely understand. But the restraint me when I don't have the restraint, there should have been security to help me restrain myself
Yes,
while they got that situation on
that is true.
control.
That is true. So that's a real problem. Because
Yes.
it's probably, like you said, it's probably happened before, but now again in this era of everybody's got a camera, everybody can stream, everyone can post, and everyone can see it immediately. We're seeing it more and more. We're reading about it more and
Mm-hmm.
more. And shouts out to the other news outlets, some of us. We're talking about it more because it's become an issue, right? It's not
Yeah.
just in some isolated corner. It's not just in the backwoods somewhere. It's at Duke. It's at South Carolina. It's in Louisiana. It's at these large locations. Another challenge that I have, and that I think we need to talk about, kind of related, kind of not related. Again, it's just overall security for everyone in the building,
Mm-hmm.
right? It could be a fight, it could be an altercation like that. But then again, we have a lot of times where game is over, everyone's cheering, then we rush the field or we rush the court and
Yeah.
mess around
Storming the court. Yeah.
yeah, and then someone gets hurt. Just that whole
Yeah.
how do you? But that whole thing of how do you manage those types of emotions, those types of environments? So yeah, a fight and altercation is something different. But here, I'm talking about storming the court as well. But I think it boils down to, man, security plans need to get updated in terms of how you deal, especially when you got fans
Well,
so close to the field or close to the court in a lot of these locations.
well, you're asking a college environment that is fueled by youth, excitement, and all these other things going on. And tradition of storming the court has been around forever since I've been watching college
Oh yeah,
basketball, which
oh
is
yeah.
when I was a
Listen,
little
I
kid.
stormed the field at
So
UCLA when they
yeah,
won. So yeah,
so that's nothing new. That's nothing new. I think with the situation that happened here in Duke, first of all, if you watch the film, the guy pushed the fan first before the other guy ran into him.
yeah,
So I've been in a situation where it's crowds. You've been in crowds. I maneuver through crowds without getting hurt. So like turn sideways, move. While they're running, let me get out the way on the side to get to the sideline to where my people at. So I'll make sure I don't get hurt. I can walk through. I'm not buying this dude is 7'6". He's a what? I think he's 6'6" plus, 6'8" plus, 200 some odd pounds. I don't see how he couldn't have got to the sideline or maneuvered his way through the sideline before getting hurt. So I'm calling him a crab. He's a crybaby. I'm not buying it.
and he's playing again tonight, so he's back on the court
Yeah,
tonight.
yeah.
So he's doing his
I'm not
thing.
applying that. But I do believe in storming the court because same thing that happened to Caitlin over in Iowa when that lady
Exactly, that's what I was
came
going
in
to say
and
about that. Yeah,
purposely. That looked almost like purposely she ran into her like that. There has to be something around. And I believe if NCAA is going to do something or do anything, now I think it has to become a defined game, right? Or I heard somebody suggest like they got to tell the fans give a few seconds before you storm the court to let other players get off the court before you start running on. I mean, they got to kind of come up with some kind of idea. The winning team never has a problem with it, right? The home team that wins the upset, they never have a problem because none of their players get hurt. They're celebrating, they're jumping on their shoulders. So you got to make sure you get that one team off the sideline. But also think, come on, let's lose the coach's discretion. Come on, there's 3 seconds left. You lost the game, and you got one last thing, and someone heaves the ball. All right, you should be telling the coach, let's get out of here. Let's go because they're going to storm. You should know as a coach being in that environment for so long, hey, let's get these kids off the court so we can get them out of here so nobody gets hurt. And you as a head coach need to be accountable for your players and get them off there real fast. I don't believe in stopping it. You can't, man. I mean,
no, you can't stop it.
There's producing that. But I do believe there's other ways you can kind of curb it, right? You can curb the situation, how it's going to go. And the security issue is if someone does get hurt, right? So The dude was trying to play. Like I said, he was crying wolf. I think if somebody does get hurt, but I mean, this has been happening for what 30 plus years, storming the court, and we've never had any incidents at all. I've never heard no one getting physically really hurt really bad or any situation maybe bumped like Caitlin does, but never really no really bad situations that have happened to doing this. So all of a sudden, in a college environment, which is a pretty good safe setting, why are we all of a sudden going to curb this enthusiasm of our crowd, right?
Oh,
Especially if you're like a Duke or one of
come
those.
on.
Like,
Yeah.
like why would you do that, man? Those kids pay their hard money for tuition to go to school. That's their outlet. They're here. They're showing school support. They spend money on clothes and everything and all the nine. And their team just made a big upset over a top 25 team, and they all want to celebrate. I just think they gotta figure out a better way to kind of get those guys off the court. Maybe you do like you do Nick Saban and them after a big game where the security
Put a
guys
wall
are
around
around
them.
them and
Put a wall
out in
around
front of
them.
everybody.
Yes, that's what you
Yeah.
do. You protect
Once you put a wall,
protect
once
the
you put
innocent.
a wall that's an alleyway, so the players can run through that real quick while you get the opposing team off the court real fast. I mean, there's all certain things you can do and tactics they can handle. You've been in security before, or you know somebody who's been professional security before. There's all kind of tactics they can have to get those guys off the court. But you can't stop that, man. That's not something you stop because it's beneficial for the university and the school and everything and everybody within. And no one's intending no
Yeah.
one to get hurt. It's nothing like that. So I'm not for changing that at all. I think they just got to figure out a way to kind of
That's a
maneuver
good point. That's a good. I tell you what, I'm gonna take this action on him because my guy is now he just got promoted and he's no longer in Seattle. I'm gonna put his business out here, but he's the president of security for Crypto.com in LA.
Okay.
Right. So, and his
Yeah.
first event of getting the job was securing the Grammys. Now again, he's got the Lakers. Now he's got the Clippers. So I'm a shout out to you, man. I'm calling you out, Ron Little. We're gonna get you on here because he can give more of a background as it related to what I was doing with music and entertainment folks, but again around these sports events because he was at the Super Bowl too, and he's been to every Super Bowl for the past however many years.
Yeah.
He knows that whole dynamic, and then also about the basketball side. So y'all make sure you subscribe, turn on notifications. Team No Sleep. We're gonna have president of security for Crypto.com in the building. Speak it into existence. Hey, speak it into existence. Let me see what these comments are about because there's one more event similar that happened that I kind of want to get into as well, but it's kind of back to the first topic. Tony Davis is in the building. Kids nowadays playing with feelings after not performing in big moments. I can go a couple of ways in terms of the stories that we were talking about. About your big dude. What's his name? Kyle Philip Howard. I'm gonna mess up his name. I'm not gonna. I don't want
to. That's why I just said the dude from school. Yeah.
I
don't know his name. I can't butcher his name like that.
That's it. Dr. Chris Stone has said, storm the parking lot. Don't risk the players. Storm the parking lot. Paint over the bus or something. Some TP the building.
I think, but I mean, I think you got to understand the environment you're in, man. I mean, if you go to Michigan. And Michigan beats Ohio State, something they haven't done in years, or they beat Ohio State in Ohio, and they upset them or something like that. Fans are going to want to be a part of that, and I think college students are the best way to be.
The goalposts down at a football game.
Yeah, that fanatic at the college football is probably the most purest fanatic you're gonna have because they're there to celebrate with their team and do their things. I don't think anyone maliciously means trying to hurt no one when they do those things ever. I've not seen the crowd of people go after a player, trying to go after a player to do that, not after a big game or a big win in the college setting. So I really truly believe, I don't think you can get rid of it, but I think you just got to curb the ways and don't like it's being done. Like I said, you can walk Nick Saban and Harbaugh out there with a bunch of police during the melee so they can go shake hands, right? They do it during the melee so they can get to each other and go shake hands. Why can't they just make a tunnel for when the player's like, hey, as soon as everybody should know protocol, hey, if the game is on the line and there's something right there, beeline to that tunnel and get yourself out to the sideline and get out of the stadium. Well, I don't understand how that's such a hard security to have.
Yeah.
Like why can't they do a protocol before and let the players know, and this is a situation that happens.
Oh, they do.
This is what you need to look for to get out of here.
I know that happens. That is a good point. So here again, we're chiming in about the same thing. So we started out talking about Cam Newton's event and the fact that there was an incident there. Then we went into the women's basketball, unfortunate altercation, storming the court. Now can't leave the fellas out.
Yeah.
The fellas out here, Texas Tech and Texas. So again, we being very transparent and open. It's not just the ladies, it's not just the dudes. It's both sides, and it's both sides of the conversation here. Hard foul. They got trying to score when the game is already over, and then you got fans throwing bottles and throwing stuff onto the court. Back to the security
See, that
issue.
I don't agree with.
Back to the
That,
security.
but that part, now that part I don't agree with at all. You throwing that's deliberately putting yourself in a situation to hurt a player, throwing a bottle or throwing something wet on the floor or throwing stuff at him at all during the game. I think that's at the point where you need to roll it back and like, hold on, this is just a game. First of all, because you disagree with a call or an action, don't give you the right. You can scream and yell all you want, but to put somebody in harm's way to throw stuff at them, again, security issue. They need to be out and need to be banned from not being able to attend anymore because they don't know how to control themselves. I think those things need to kind of really be looked at and be done by the school security and school events. I don't let the schools off, man, because they're making millions and millions and millions of dollars off these games. So it's not an NCAA issue. It's the school's issue. The school needs to you paid me to come play you in your event in your stadium. You need to make sure you protect my players, and you need to make sure you protect them to a certain extent. If you guys win us an upset and you're still on the court, okay, I figured out we got to get ourselves out there. If somebody's throwing stuff that's not, I'm holding you liable as that person to be able to protect us and protect my players. And one as a player, you should be able to protect me in my future. So if someone's throwing something, that needs to be an issue to address straight by the thing. Just like they do in the NBA, you throw something, stop the game, everything stops, pause. We're going to find out who did it, and they're going to get up out of here, and we're going to clean it up, and that's never going to happen again. So those are just security things that need to be put in place around some of these players, some of these places and all that stuff. That's just not fair.
Yeah. Tony Davis saying, I thought they got rid of bottles in college arenas. At least I know they did as well in California colleges, but apparently, and it may have been something someone brought in.
Man, we don't know what they got in Texas.
Yeah,
Texas,
right. Look,
they might have 40. They might have 40-ounce bottles.
Right. I've seen some students sneak some stuff in, and I'm like, okay, how y'all doing that? But again, they probably bought it in themselves. So I don't know. I think
Cheryl, there's your question right there. How much are they paying security? Obviously not enough. And there's not enough if these incidents are happening and not paying them enough. So that needs to be increased in their budget when it comes to when their athletic department needs to come out and doing their thing. They need to say, we got to increase budgets for security. And we got to look at it's got to be the big boys of these things are happening to these events. Southern Miss and Arkansas. Arkansas's in the SEC. They got money. Texas and Auburn are in the Big Ten. Major money. Major contract money and all that. Anybody in the West Coast in the Pac-12 and all them got major money. Maybe smaller schools, it might be a little more difficult, but these big schools, they got more than enough money to go around to be able to fund security and fund the right security for all the athletes to walk around and participate in events. So whatever it is, it ain't enough, and they need to put more into it.
I just had a weird deja vu moment because I think and I know we have talked about this topic before. And literally, I think that same question came up about how much are they paying security at a venue, whatever. And I don't know. I just had a weird deja vu moment that, we talked about this, and I'm getting tired of talking about these same type of stories. But we got to talk about them. Someone's got to talk about them. All right, man. Listen, I see y'all over there on Twitter. Come on now. If you want to, you can leave comments there. We have the technology. I know we living on YouTube. I see folks coming in on Facebook as well, but shouts out to Twitter. Don't be afraid to leave a comment out there. We love y'all too.
Man, it ain't Twitter, it's X.
Man, listen, I will never I will never do that. I'm gonna be an old school Jack Dorsey guy, and I'm gonna keep calling it Twitter as long as I can.
I hear you.
Where you want to go? You want to talk about Tyreek?
Yeah, or you want to talk about
Nike?
No. I wanted to talk about, to be honest with you, with the shout out to the University of Antelope Valley. Unfortunately, their school just closed down due to financial issues. I believe the men's and women's basketball team qualified for the NIA tournament, but since the school closed down, they can't go, right? So that's sad. And it's crazy to me for something that has bricks and mortars in the university to close down. And many of you always talked about, why is there no HBCUs on the West Coast, right? Why is it not that avenue here? And we have an opportunity where the bricks and mortar are already built for someone to come in and save that school and save that opportunity and create a whole new environment without having to reinvent the wheel from the ground up. I would hope entertainers and people like Snoop, and who's done a tremendous job in the community and doing things, and E40, another entertainer that's been doing tremendous things in the community. I think they always talk about leaving legacy and doing things and doing the right thing. I would think this would be a grand opportunity for all those guys to get together and put something together to have a university and make it an HBCU university on the West Coast. I mean, we have such a rich engagement and a rich history of African American history in California. It would be nice to have the very first experience in black college experience on the West Coast. So it's disheartening that they had to close. I wish there was somebody to be able to salvage it. Well, not only for the current students that got to get into it, but making a different experience in a different environment for kids to be able to go to school.
Right.
And us have that here on the West Coast. It's a shame that if we want that experience, we got to go either back all the way back east or down south. And we got to admit it. They don't treat us the same as they treat their own down south. It's just because we're from a different region and we do things differently.
Yeah.
And we're the only region that doesn't have a HBCU. The Midwest has
is still mind blowing to me, to be honest with you. Again, growing up primarily on the East Coast, that's still mind blowing to me. But.
Yeah. The South has it, and the fact of the matter that it's already been done and created, so you can take a blueprint from what they have. You don't have to build the brick and mortar no more, where it's very expensive. Now you just take the concept and switch it off. And what is having so many millionaires that are self-made millionaires in the entertainment and sports industry and in other realms of business, why can't we build our own and have one of our own, to share that kind of experience? And I think people always say, well, what do you mean by that experience? I mean, being taught by professors that look like you, showing you the same way, showing you what the obstacles are to go through your career development as an African-American person or female or whatnot. How STEM works with them, and then also teach them the crafts that we've been successful in music and entertainment law, and so on and so on. They can build such a realm. It baffles me if Kanye West can build a church with millions of dollars. How come they can't go ahead and build a school? So that's my 2 cents, man. I'm very passionate about education. I think it'll be a great opportunity for us to have one on the West Coast.
Tony Davis may have some breaking news here. He says past week it was announced they are getting an HBCU on the West Coast. I did not know there was an HBCU in California for medicine. Man,
there's supposed to be one, and I looked at it, but it's so small. It's such a small thing. It's almost like it's a small university we don't even know about that has nothing. I did hear about this one that's supposed to be in LA. It's supposed to be HBCU, but I've never heard anything about it. Nothing for it. Nothing with it. This would be an opportunity for us to make one that's on a grander scale. I think if it was a university in Antelope Valley, that could be changed and converted to that. So I hope, James, you tag E40, you tag Snoop and all them on this thing that hopefully they can come together and get that going. Because it would be great. It would be great to have something like that on the West Coast, and to be able to develop it. It doesn't have to be the biggest college on the first. You just smallly and start to develop it more and more. And I think when you have such star power and those guys behind it, it's an easy win. And we got to think about it. They don't have to use their own money. If Snoop and them throw a benefit concert just to fund the rest of the school, whatever they got to fund, they can throw a superstar concert and everybody can donate their 40-minute set for whatever the ticket sells to go to the school. It would behoove me that I think Little Wayne would donate 40 minutes of his set to come perform in front of people and let the money go towards the school. I think Jay-Z would do it. Who lives in California, and all these millionaires, they wouldn't be able to do something that's very, very special. And I think that they can leverage off their business as well. Restaurants that they own, they can put those into the school. There's just a lot that can be done. They can build that little microcosm to something very, very special as a HBCU.
I love that. And everything's recorded. And I just put a marker. So 40, Bimmy. Shouts out to
Snoop, Dre, all of them. Yeah, Bimmy, everybody
that we've had contact with is going to get tagged in a piece of content. Shouts out to the community here talking about Charles R. Drew University and their School of Medicine here on the West Coast. There we go, right there. That's what's up right there. I will make sure if anyone is looking to go into the medical field, looking for a diverse bit of instruction, diverse bit of faculty, be in that kind of environment, and you got the smarts to be a doctor. I'm gonna put it in the description so you can send your folks to that and help out with that.
Absolutely.
71% of CDU faculty are from communities of color.
Awesome.
80% plus of CDU students are from communities of color. Man, I'm gonna have to learn medicine, man. I'm gonna have to come up.
Yeah, but we need to have that not only in medicine, we need to have it in engineering, we need to have it in sociology, psychology. We need
That's
to have
dope.
it in all realms of law. Every aspect of learning, we should have it. But I shout out to Charles R. Drew University, man, for that being around and alive and doing it. I just think we need to also expand that onto a bigger scale, for more universities, especially for us here on the West Coast.
Man, that's real dope. Okay, see, I like that. I'm glad you wanted to have that conversation. Yeah, I feel better. It's been an interesting week. Got me drinking Dutch Brothers right out of the cup. This is not normally my drink of choice. I must be off. So, where we going? I'm also a little off base because back to men's basketball, and this has nothing to do with anything, but Oregon State is playing Oregon University right now, or later on tonight.
Who?
The Ducks are playing the Beavers men's basketball.
Oh, Battle of the State. Yeah, Battle of the State. Okay, I got you.
Yeah, but I don't like this. I don't like this probability window, and this is bothering me right here. 91% chance or odds of the Ducks beat the
All
Beavers.
that means if you bet on Oregon State, you're gonna come up. That's all that means.
Boy, listen, don't let me hit these numbers. Don't let me mess around and buy Isaiah whatever kind of car he wants for next year. Don't.
Yeah. So
half of my mind is over here watching this as that number doesn't move as fast as I wanted to. But let's talk about this. How long we been going? We almost an hour. I want to end on a pretty good note and a pretty interesting note. I said I want to talk about Nike, and it's not really about Nike. It's not really about Nike, but it kind of is. It's about young McKenna Whitman. She's 13 years old, knows how to kick the soccer ball with her left foot and score, knows how to kick the ball with her right foot and score. And that's what got pro teams and brands and Nike looking at her and saying, man, hold on, she's 13 years old and she ambidextrous like that and can do the thing. Youngest person to have an NIL deal.
Yes.
She's got her own shoe with Nike. She's 13 years old. Bruh. Come on now. When you making moves like that at 13 years old, I can't be mad at you. When you started from here and now you up there with the Kobe's and the Jordans and the Jameses, who else is a Nike athlete, right? And you're only 13 years old.
Yeah. I mean, she's with the Serenas and all them, and I think she's groundbreaking because I think she's in the right field, right lane, because I think women's soccer is going to blow up in the United States bigger than men's in the United States. With Rodman already there making noise, the women's USA team is supposed to be very good coming in next year, and then you have this young lady right now who's a phenom at the age of 13. I think it's only right to align herself with Nike and doing what she's doing. And I think we're going to see more of these things as we see more phenoms younger. Remember, we got it already in the high school realm. She's just the first one to do it in the junior high realm. So I think as they start to find these, I mean, remember Freddie Adu? I think he was the youngest at one point. He didn't have an NIL deal, but Freddie Adu was the first one to get paid as a young dude when he was 14. She's 13, so she beats 13. Him out. But I believe, I mean, you got to think, especially with soccer, which you hit me to this game. Yeah. Soccer is not only a U.S. popular sport, it's a global popular sport. So her actions and her talent goes anywhere. Obviously she's going to get better as time goes on, but at the age of 18, 19, if she doesn't make it in the U.S., she can go anywhere across the world and go play and make money and be a dominating force. And since she's being so young, she's going to be able to do a lot. They're going to base the marketing campaign by her as long as she continues to progress and be very, very good. So I think we got to, you got to understand that. I think from the business standpoint, from a marketing standpoint, it almost makes sense, right? To get the phenom when she's 13 and say, just get a little bit better, and we're going to push you all over the world.
Just keep doing what you do, right? Because you think about it, the Megan Rapinos, the Alex Morgans, I hate to say this, but, they're aging out. Heck,
Yep.
Alex Morgan wasn't even a starter on the U.S. women's team. They had to call her at the house because the other player was injured.
Yep.
Now you got 13-year-old. Now you got this 13-year-old who got a Nike contract. There's a whole bunch of pros and cons of this. I like the pros more, and I want to keep talking about those. See you, Mr. Riley, in the building as well. Another sports aware individual. Like then, kind of what Shirley was saying. Man, she can't go nowhere now. She's 13.
I mean,
yeah, she homeschooled, so she don't have to deal with public school, and she don't have to deal with that whole thing. But man, now she can go to the mall and just be cool, right? She got to have somebody else.
You know what?
Her.
I disagree.
Talk to us because we talk about this a lot of times, and I want to hear this debate.
As of not right now, I disagree because she's not in front of the limelight all the time just yet. She's 13 years old. We know about it because she's been on the newspaper and newsgram, but she's not all over the TV. She's not over that, so she still has somewhat of privacy. But you're absolutely right. You best believe if she gets older and better and Nike starts to put more money and dollars behind her, her face is going to be splattered all over and she won't be able to go anywhere. And she will have go through those same things that the LSU students are going through and these other students are going through as far as safety is concerned. You know, she can't go nowhere. She can't have any privacy. She can't. Those things are going to eventually happen and come. I do. But as of right now to this day, she's okay. She's okay. She's a young girl, just a superstar. She can kind of go out on her own. She's fine. I think she's all right, you know. Because me and you, let's be all honest with you, if we start walking down the street, we might not recognize her, right? At this point.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that might be somebody famous. I don't even know who she is, so I'm going to keep it pushing. But I can tell you in a few years, it won't be that way for her. I think, but we as a society that are sports fanatic, we better start getting used to this because it's going to be younger and younger and younger kids getting NIL deals and starting to become famous based on their craft because it's marketing people and companies feel if you can catch them when they're young, you can secure them in that bag.
This is crazy, man, because I wanted to do this search. This is the first time I did this. This is the league that she plays for, the Slammers FC. And these come on, these still babies.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. This is who she's part of and who she's with. She's with these.
But I got a question for you. Are we shocked because other countries do that to their young superstar athletes all the time? Luka was playing professional basketball with pros when he was 13 years old, 14 years old in the professional league with grown men. So I believe in Brazil there was a young soccer player that was playing when they were young. So putting their young athletes into these professional settings they can compete, that's nothing new. The only thing that's new now is money is coming into play because parents know their wealth. Kids don't really understand it that young, but parents know that there's a wealth part behind it. And then people want to make sure they invest to secure that bag before it gets too big. Can you imagine the first person to sign Luka if they would have been able to hold on to him? If Nike would have signed Luka when he was 13, 14 years old, busting those grown men's butt, guess how much Luka would make at Nike right now because he's an international star. We know him here in the U.S. Luka just playing Mavericks, but he's an international star because of his game. He's been playing all over the world. So I think this is nothing new as grasping young athletes. I just think now the money's there and the fact that now they publish it all the time, right? They put it in the press for people to be targets and to be in these situations. Me personally, if you're under the age of 13 or at least 16, they should have never put a picture out there. They should just said her name and kept it cat.
That's where I'm feeling right there, right? I got a little hesitant to put the teams out there because, again, now not thinking bad, not thinking negative, and obviously thinking about the best, but come on, there's got to be some barrier around 10, 11, 12, 13-year-old, and couldn't there just be like an image or a likeness or a name, image, and likeness as opposed to a young girl?
Yeah, but it should be name and likeness. The image need to kind of go away or go in the background a little bit until she gets a little bit older.
Yes, sir.
In my opinion, just because you just got sickos out there, man. Let's just be real. You got sickos out there, and you got people that just have ill intentions towards people, period, and especially kids sometimes. So I don't think the image should be out there, or you should publicize the image so much. I think it should be more like you just do the name and the likeness and kind of carry that part along until she's at least 15. I would say 15 to 16, where they can kind of understand what's going on a little bit more. Parents have a little bit of time to kind of prepare for what's about to happen, right? Prepare for what's about to happen in that
her
situation.
NIL money in a trust too, right? So that can't nobody
I
really touch it, third party. So
we talk about that a lot. I think it should all be in the trust for. I don't think kids that age are equipped to be able to handle that kind of money. I just don't think they are. Not saying you shouldn't get some of it, but you don't need to get all of them right now. I think you need to be able to put it away. And I think us as athletes, and especially us as minority people, where we're not financially savvy, educated, especially traditionally in a lot of our parents, we need to be able to figure out. They need to be able to educate us along in the process and put that money away and show us how beneficial it will be into the long run. And I have who I was speaking with, Allen Iverson, because he could tell you all of it. Hey man, I blew it all, and I'm gonna tell you that's wrong. And I'm so glad I put some money away.
Yeah, AI,
cool
man.
now.
AI didn't have the answer for
Shout out to
while when he
AI,
was
man.
playing.
Shout out to AI.
Yeah, he
But
didn't have the answer.
no, I think it should be a trust, man. I think they need to redesign NIL and shouldn't just give these young people all this money. Like I think there
This
should
is
be
an
a
NIL
percentage.
conversation that we weren't expecting. We you and I
Yeah.
think, and I'll say this in confidence. You know, we talked about the aspect of an 18, 19, 20 something year old going out there, coming from nothing, and then having something. And I always make the analogy:
Yeah.
$50,000 to go out there and bag groceries. And then we brought up the fact that your partners from the neighborhood are looking at you like, hey, you got a couple of nickels. I came up with you too. You owe me because I was there before you were you. So we talked about that piece, but never talked about it trickling down the age bracket to now where someone who can't go nowhere by themselves, right?
Well, like I said, I mean, well, we talked about a little bit because we know Mikey Williams. He was a child prodigy. We knew that had NIL deal that that got in his little incident. But we have to be prepared for the situation that's kind of coming in because all this money comes into their hand. They're not. I don't think their brain is developed enough how to deal with that situation and what comes along with all that. There's a lot of when you have a lot of money, there's a lot of responsibility. Period. I think people don't understand that. When you have a lot of money, there's a lot of responsibility. And with all those responsibilities, there is always someone with their hand out, someone trying to get something. Someone's always trying to take advantage of you or take something from you that either earned it or didn't earn it. But somebody's always got their hand out to try to do something. You have to be able to manage and maneuver between all that. I don't think a kid that is 17, 16, 17, well, actually now 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 is capable of doing that. There's some exceptions to the rule, don't get me wrong, but far and few are able to. There's far and few people that are 50 years old that can handle having a lot of money.
Yeah.
They don't even know how to deal with money. We see it all the time. Person won lottery, now they broke 10 years later. So you're expecting someone that sees all these things, these lights, bells, and whistles, of never had anything. Now all of a sudden they got enough they think they can afford it all, and think they can be able to manage that. That's going to sustain them for a lifetime. I think we're just fooling ourselves. But I intentionally also always told you, the NCAA or people that are the NIL in the professional sports do that on purpose. They don't educate. They provide avenues to say, hey, you go get yourself educated, but they don't force the education on these people to be able to manage their money and manage their wealth for a long period of time.
Pandora's box, brother. Pandora's box. My God. All right. We'll see what's going on. Ask for the community to chime in. Shirley's been chiming in and saying, well, first of all, we appreciate you, Shirley, for your votes of confidence in us having this conversation, because no one's going as deep into these weeds about this, and that's really a shame. It's those companies making the bucks and not taking the psych issues that come with this. So, street training and book training is, all that. I mean, the psychological aspect of it. Again, I'm 13 years old and I can go buy everything at the Disney store. I don't know. What do you buy?
I think you ought to also add, like you said, the pressure of competition, psyche as well. Like there's if you underperform, what about that psyche? If you do underperform, or if you're not, if it's just too much pressure, everybody's dependent on you to do something and you're just not capable of doing it, or it just doesn't happen. All those pressures I think all play in on the psyche of what she's talking about. And then you got to deal with the stuff outside the sport. I think at some point, I've heard professional athletes, getting on the court is the easy part, right? Playing basketball, playing football is the easy part.
Yeah.
It's the stuff when before I get on the field and after I get on the field is where all the chaos and problems happen. That's where it all happens when it happens. So you got to be able to deal with those things. And let's be perfectly honest, we know family ain't always family when it comes to those situations of money. So the people that you depend on the most, or you love the most, or you think that are in your circle the most, are some of the people that inspire you and have jealousy. So It's tough, man. I think she's
we
right.
got that going
I
on
think she's
right
got
now
you.
on a couple of sides of my inner circle. So I'm gonna leave it
Yeah,
alone. But yeah, I look at you that way. Let me do this right quick though, because internet royalty, IT technology royalty just stepped in the building. Ladies and gentlemen, my
oh
guy
yeah,
Strebel is in the building. He's probably on some ski slope in Japan right now, drinking a martini. But he chimed in on Twitter and he says, you don't know what you don't know. I was 43 when we sold our company. Felt like a rookie managing money. Shouts out to
yeah,
the company Pagely, who all of Hicks New Media assets are still hosted and powered by. That's the company he's talking about. But again, managing money, 43, and I know Strebel at not necessarily zero, but at the beginning, at the
yeah.
onset, and then
hmm
he walked away, sold, did what he had to do at a particular age, and he and the family are straight. But
Yeah,
again,
but
coming
again, but
into a gang of cash, coming into a game of equity,
yeah,
a game of stuff, and folks everybody want to be friends. Hey,
yeah.
everybody want to roll with you and go do your thing. But he's a success story in terms of how he and his lovely bride have maneuvered through this whole business
But
entrepreneur, managing money, managing doing
yeah,
all that stuff, right? So I just wanted to put that
you
out
know,
there and say thanks,
I think
Josh, for coming through.
I think Josh, man. I mean, first of all, appreciate your honesty and your comment. I mean, that's most people they don't admit things like that at all. They keep them to themselves. The fact that, like you said, he's a rookie managing money, and I think I don't think people realize. I think they just see the good, right? They see the good when a lot of money comes in. Oh, I got all this money, I can finally buy this or pay for this or do all that stuff. I think when it comes with a lot of money, there's a whole lot of responsibility. You got to understand that there's a lot of things you got to decipher when you have money.
Mm-hmm.
You got to be able to decipher, what's good, what's bad, where I'm going to put my money, where I'm not going to put my money, who I'm going to give money to, who I'm not going to give money to, because everybody got an idea and everybody wants their hand out. Right. Everybody got an idea they want you to invest in. Everybody want to put their hand out to do all that. And I think at some point, when you have money, you have to be selfish. You can't give it all. You have to be
Come on.
selfish.
Yeah.
That's the reality of it. And I'm not speaking from experience. I don't have no money, but I'm just saying I empathize and I think a lot. I think when you come into a lot of money, you have to be selfish at some point. Because if you're not, you're going to end up broke like some of these other people that we read about, or some of your favorite stars or favorite athletes that that went broke. Is because at some point they weren't selfish enough to make sure they're taking care of themselves and their families, and then help everybody else out. They thought they had enough that would last them for a lifetime, and it's never the case. That's never the case. So appreciate you, Josh, man. That's
Yeah,
big Willie talk
that's
right
a
there. I
bad
like
dude
that.
right there. I was
Yeah,
actually,
yeah.
hey Josh, I was rocking some Paisley gear earlier today, man. So, hey, you can come on the stream anytime you want. That's a good dude. That's a
It would
good
be
dude.
great to have him on. It would be great to talk
Yeah,
about financial literacy a little bit with him.
I
And
think he's still cheering for them Phoenix Suns though. So we gonna pray for him on that. We gonna pray for him on them
I ain't
Suns.
mad at him. Yeah.
More money, more problems. Biggie Small. At least Shirley no. She said, where is the now you get bags money? Well-being checklist. Ask my brokers and CPAs for it. It doesn't exist. Where is the now that I got this money? No, where's the
We
book?
talked about this before.
Where's the
Yeah.
Dr. Spock book, right? For the brand new parents of, this is how you make sure you don't drop your kid on the head. I never read them books anyway. But again, where's the player manual?
More so than where's the bag, where's the book, where's the manual, where's the teachings at the universities for this? Where's the teachings at the high school kids for this? Where's the agent that is getting them this money? Where is his class to show them, hey, you need to be able to manage your money better. I need to put you on this regimen class for you to learn. What the people that are managing your money, that are getting you your money, their intentions aren't for you to be broke forever. I mean, be wealthy forever. It's not. I don't believe there is, because if it was, we would have a ton more millionaires already. Their intentions are not to keep you wealthy forever. They're not. Their intentions are to just say, hey, their intentions are to say yes, because you're the one with the bag, you're the one with the talent, so they're gonna say yes to you and to your bag, to your talent where it runs out.
So,
and they want to keep you happy to that whole time. And when that time is over, hey, you spend your money any way you want to. I'm not pretty much managing it anymore. And that goes for, I think, for everyone. Some people have better people in their corners, and they'll be loyal to them because they made them so much money, so they'll be a little bit nicer to them. But that same person has dicked somebody over that wasn't as cool with them or as close with them and didn't show them how to manage their money and didn't have to do it. So I believe when you get that bag or there's a bag there, I do believe there needs to be some responsibility of the agent, the owner of the company, the school, the NIL, somebody to show these people how to keep their money. I really do, but it just doesn't exist. And they don't plan on making it exist. Because we've been talking about it for 3 years now, and ain't nobody doing that.
That's where I pause, right? Because again, we've been talking about this, and this. So y'all see where we're coming full circle. Yeah, the initial story tonight was a 13-year-old who's got an NIL deal. We talked about NIL the night before it was the portal opened. We talked about it again, all the pros and many of the cons of the whole aspect of this. There's so many things that, at least from the outsider looking in, were not put in place to help these young athletes who, one, are still students, and they need to be focused on that, focus on a grade, focus on doing that and becoming quality people. But again, now you put them in different tax brackets. Now you put them around different folks. Now you got them going out there dressing up, signing autographs, bagging groceries, doing whatever. And a lot of them not used to that. Help these kids. Well, I mean, to be successful if you want them to get out there and perform. And the whole aspect that you just said about, again, when I'm done with you, when I'm the company, I'm done with you, when you are no longer, when Mackenzie can't kick a goal with her left foot and her right foot, she can only do a header, does Nike cut her? Again, I don't want to be conspiracy, but again, that's just the extreme that I wanted to get to.
I think you got to take a look at some of the examples. We have Willis McGahee, who made millions and millions of dollars, who now serves tables. Right, was the running back of the Denver Broncos, who was great. He waits tables now in order to survive. We have Adrian Peterson, who everyone should know who Adrian Peterson is, one of the best running backs ever. He's selling his MVP ring, his MVP trophies, and his memorabilia just to make ends meet now. They made millions and millions of dollars, and no one told them. They don't even tell them about the tax part, right? Like, you're in a different tax bracket. Uncle Sam's taking half. You got to give 41%. Here's $600 million
off the top.
You giving up $3.
Off
$3's
the top.
Gone away. Yeah, off the top.
Before it hits your account.
We're not even helping these young people understand that portion of it. You know, some of them do if they have someone in the background that's done it before and maybe giving them a little bit of game, but for the most part, or for the new one, they don't understand that. And you're depending on someone else to tell you that. And we've already seen the stories with the Terrell Owens and all that. Someone else has been stealing money the whole time. So the people that you entrust to tell you, they're not even the best people to go to the resource. So they need to teach everyone on the same playing field, at least a basic knowledge of financial literacy when you run into this bag and how you're supposed to be able to manage it a little bit. This is what you need to do to sustain you for a long time. I don't think it's that hard for you to get Fidelity to put on a clinic class for your school.
Come
for all
on with that. Listen, Capital One, step up.
So what are we really doing? What are they really doing with these kids that are finna? Caitlin, I believe, will be okay because I think Caitlin's going to have a circle around her, and I think she's going to become around the people. Yeah. I don't have the same confidence as I have in Reese at LSU.
Yeah,
because she doesn't come from that same surroundings.
Yeah, man, that's tough because unfortunately, I feel the exact same way. Yeah, that's tough.
And that's and I'm gonna be honest with you, you're a hypocrite, and that's sad because I'm the same way. That's freaking sad.
That's why I laid my head down when you said that. Yeah, that's man.
So I mean, those institutions are gonna be responsible for. They're not gonna provide the right circles around everybody to do the right thing because once they're done with you, they're done with you. And the money you made, you better figure out a way to manage. And they don't care. And to me, that's sad because it doesn't happen on the other side of the fence. It doesn't happen as often, you know. So I believe, I would hope someone would step up and kind to make sure they're A-okay, make sure they get to understand it, keep hammering. The same way you're hammering that playbook into their head, you need to hammer into them, this is what you need to do. I've already told you, kids that are in college right now, the Division I level, they should all have to take a certified literacy class, financial literacy class, every year that they're there. Every year. You need to take it. You need to take the class, And you don't get on the field until you pass that, until you get your certification in all sports. And now since it's trickling down into high schools, if you're in high school, you and your parents need to take a financial literacy class on how to manage money, or they're not getting that money until they pass it or do whatever. And even in junior high school with Miss Woodland, you need to take a financial literacy certification before you don't have to be a class, but a certification for you to go in and go and take on. At least you know you have some type of basis, right?
You need that. Yeah, I completely agree with that you need that, man. That we gonna watch this one. She gonna outlive me though. So like she only 13 and getting that Nike bag, you know. So
no, but I mean she gonna get it. But what happens when an urban basketball kid that's in the heart of New York City that's 13 years old, that's a phenom, he gets it? Do you have the same confidence that you know I'm just gonna be able to last him a lifetime at the age of 13 for his lifetime that you're doing this little girl, Miss Woodman? And I'm gonna say, and I'm gonna call it elephant in the room. Race is an issue, so don't get me twisted. Race is a problem. Your economic status is a problem. There's issues there because there's a disparity
around us. Everything, things that you're surrounded by. Yeah, I agree with you on that.
There's a disparity. So I'm not going tiptoe around. There's not a race card that's played in there, or a race is not involved in it. But I don't have the same confidence. Not saying she can't, but Miss Whitham, who's 13 years old, soccer phenom, I think she's going to be all right because they're going to put a team around her, or there's going to be people around her to make sure that money sustains. I believe. I kind of believe, because I think that's kind of the circle or surrounding she is. They don't provide that same circle for that inner city kid that's in New York. They let him go do whatever he. Mikey Williams is a prime example. Let him do what he's doing. They don't provide that same circle around him for him to be protected and make sure he doesn't fall off and do some of these things. So
it's just sad to hear.
It's got to be the same for everyone.
So that's why I'm sitting here looking dumbfounded, y'all. I mean, it's just sad to hear that statement as a reality. Unfortunately, that we don't take care of folks like we should be.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm just me, bro. I just see it from my perspective. I hope people appreciate my perspective. I appreciate theirs.
Listen, they do, and you know, we always come for real, trying to get Streb alone. But I think he at the ski lodge. He over here hit me up behind the scenes. Yeah, I'm putting all your business out, Josh. But or you know, he may be sipping some scotch or something and don't want to come on, but would love to get you on, man, to have your story be told as well to the Team No Sleep audience. Let's say this Tyreek one tell. I think this one's not gonna die. This one right here, we can ride this Tyreek Hill story out for a while. So I think we'll just hold this one on for a while. Brother, great week, great show, great conversation. Bring the plane in, man, and tell everybody your thoughts.
Man, always, like I always say, first of all, check up on loved ones. It's important. Check up on your loved ones, your parents, your aunties, your uncles, your cousins, your friends, to make sure they're all right when trying times. Say your prayers, man, and please be comfortable having uncomfortable conversations, because that's how we learn.
That's what we do.
Yeah.
Ladies, gentlemen, Team No Sleep, Social Impact of Sport.